Today we're going to talk about pâte de choux. Pâte de choux is a pastry. Yes, I'm not much of a pastry person, but I can about get by. If you've had eclairs, cream puffs, you've had pâte de choux, because that's what this stuff is made out of. So we're going to go on with a savory version. We'll call it Gougeres. Well, it is called Gougeres, which is kind of cheese puffs. So while you're at it, you know, hey, like, share, subscribe, smash notifications, leave a comment. Big thing, share. Okay, with this recipe, it is all about having everything ready to go. So let's go over my list. Flour, 1 cup. 4 eggs. Room temperature is best. Half cup of milk, half cup of water. We got salt, got flavor, 4 ounces of butter. So everything is ready to go. And let's talk equipment. We gotta have our equipment ready to go too. So I've got my little stove top here. We'll get that going. We'll get the water and the milk up to a boil. We'll talk about the rest of the equipment. You need your mixer ready to go. Okay, you gotta have your mixer ready to go. I've got rubber spatula or silicone spatula, paddle attachment. Got a place for it to go. I've got a sheet pan over there lined with a silicone baking mat. Piping bag, piping tip. You can get these at your local supermarkets will have that. Your big box stores will have them. This is a vinyl. It's cleanable. You can wash this. You can reuse it. It's good. Piping tips. This is a couple of bucks also. So that goes in there. So it's ready to go. So we got to bring this up to a boil. We'll add our butter in too. Another thing you're going to need, big sturdy spoon. Trust me. So while this is coming up to a boil, melting the butter, we do want to boil this butter in there for a little bit. Let's add some salt, nice pinch, and let's add our flavor. Since we're going savory, chilies work. So if you got smoked paprika or something like that, you can throw that in there too. I'm going to use my Ancho powder. About half a teaspoon. Also, the cheese I have, this is called Cotswold. It is a English Cheshire with chives and onion in it. It's delicious. It's great for out-of-hand eating. Scramble it up in your eggs. Nice glass of wine. All go great with that. And it'll go great in this. So the butter's not quite melted yet. We're gonna wait for that to happen. So what I'm doing here is I am also emulsifying some of the fat from the butter into the liquid, which will help us out. Let me move this out of the way just a bit. It's going to get intense real quick. Okay, the butter is melted. We're going to let this boil for just a few minutes. Well, 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to turn the heat down just a bit. The 1 cup of flour all goes in. And now you got to stir. Leave the heat on. You want to stir this until all the flour is incorporated and it starts to form a ball just like that. I'm gonna turn the heat off now. This is exactly what we're looking for. Time to switch equipment. You don't have to move really fast on this dish, this transition here, because you want this to cool a bit because you don't want to scramble the eggs. Now, if you do have the strength of a longshoreman, you can do this by hand. I'm going to use the mechanical. Paddle attachment goes on. And we're going to stir this on low for about 30 seconds. What this is doing is it's just further mixing it up, and it's also allowing it to cool, which we need when we add these eggs. Okay, so here we're going to add the eggs one at a time. Now, from here, we want the temperature down below about 145 degrees to keep our eggs safe. So that's why we mixed it for a good 30 seconds. So if you wanted to, you could take its temperature right now. That would be a good idea if you're not quite sure with what you're doing, but I'm running my Yap a lot here. So it's cooling down quite a bit. So I'm going to turn it back on just below medium speed, and we're going to incorporate the eggs one at a time. Okay, all the eggs are incorporated. I kind of messed up. 2 eggs fell in at once. Oh well, if you're using a mechanical means, that's not a big deal. But you still want to go one at a time. So now it's time to add our cheese. I'm not going to add all of it. I'm going to add about 3 of the 4 ounces. Yeah, that's about right. And we're going to mix this again until it's completely incorporated and the cheese is melted into it all. Of course, scrape it down. All right, that's done. Time for the next step. Now we need to form little balls on this mat, and that's where the piping bag comes in handy. So we're gonna move all this goo into here. So first thing you wanna do, now if you have like a big jar or something like that, a big wide mouth jar, maybe like the crock on that that I'm holding my utensils in, that would work. Otherwise, turn the outside of the bag inside, just to about 4 or 5 inches, 3 or 4 inches. Put your hand underneath and support it. Grab your spatula. First we'll get this stuff off of here, because we want that to go in there. Oh, also, you've got your oven on, right? We need it at 350 degrees. Now I've got mine at about 400 degrees because, well, I've told you about that old girl. So again, hand, you want it to rest in this notch in your hands. Let's move it all into the bag. Now take the flap that you folded over, push it down, give it a little bit of shake. Now comes the trick. Set it down on the counter. Grab a knife. A long knife works good. And you want to put the back of the knife, not the sharp end, and push all the dough down towards the end of the push it all down towards the end of the piping bag. I like the silicone mat, but if you have parchment paper, that'll work too. And all we're going to do is pipe little circles, about 1.5 to 3 centimeters. Should be able to get about 20, 25 of these. Make sure you have room. So piping. Twist the end of the bag and keep twisting it. That'll keep forcing the goo down towards the tip. And then it's just a matter of smoothly piping it out. So this hand is just guidance. This hand is doing all the work. And I find, at least for myself, the faster I pipe, the more consistent I am. All right. So I got 22. Great. These go in the oven for 30 minutes. I'm going to check on them after about 20. You don't have to watch. I'll do that. Okay. I'll be back in about 20, 25 minutes. Oops. Take your extra cheese. Pop it on top. Now they go in the oven. Let's talk cleanup. The bag, soap and water. Wash it by hand. You don't want to throw this in the dishwasher because it just won't be able to hold up to it. And to tell you the truth, something like this, all collapsy and stuff like that, yes, I said collapsy, you wouldn't be able to get it clean on the inside. So what I do is I turn it inside out all the way, wash the inside with soap and water, rinse it off really good, and then just set it like this over a clean towel and let it dry. Okay, here we are. Took about 30-35 minutes. I set my timer for 30, didn't feel that they're quite done. Big thing is you gotta get these off the rack now. Because they gotta cool. Not a long time, but they do have to cool quite a bit. These are actually best fairly warm. So here we are, cheese puffs. You open them up, there's a little bit of air pocket in there. Nice. Nice flaky, terry. Beautiful. I'll see you next time.